I hear them, they're on me.
Making contact with
And they know about us.
Taking fire.
Gibby's almost broke. I'm going around the side of him. Oh. Hey, he's almost dead. 140.
Reload.
Gibby's almost dead in here. Gibby's almost dead. Stay right, Matthew.
Not far from the window.
I'm pushing left.
Reload. Listen up, I'm getting shot. Enemy.
I'm coming.
Damn it, that hurt. Down. 7 shield, you'll be alright. 10 seconds, the ring's just shroud up.
30 on him.
We're all outside the ring and
Don't shield out.
Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Intentions. I decided today to make a guide video to talk about tips and tricks and how to use them in the game, and my controller settings and why I chose them that way. This is completely unscripted. This could be 5 minutes, it could be 25 minutes. I really have no idea. We're just gonna have to find out. Thank you for watching. Alright, so we're gonna go over my general settings first. Let's take a look here. So, crosshair damage feedback. So I have mine on off. This is actually a relatively recent decision. I usually had it on shield with icon and the X. So that's what probably almost every single person has in this game. I decided to turn mine off. When you shoot, there's nothing telling you that you're shooting them except for the damage. I decided to disable this one because you can already tell what shield they're on. On these dummies, it's a little harder to tell because there's a lot of red mixed in with this because it's just colored that way. But while you're in game, you can definitively tell whether it's a white, blue, or purple shield without that icon. It's a little bit harder to track them, I think, on the lower frames. Even though we do have higher aim assist on consoles, it's just a little bit hard to track them sometimes, especially when the frames start to drop a little bit. With the crosshairs disabled, I think it's a lot easier to track the target while shooting. So looking here at damage numbers, I do have it on both. Most people, including myself for a long time playing the game, had it on stacking. I have it on both. It just adds a little bit extra information when it comes to the hit points and trying to gather exact damage that I did to somebody. Moving on, let's skip down here to weapon auto cycle on empty. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. When it's on, a lot of times if you're going to shoot somebody with the intentions of one clipping and you don't, and you need to switch your weapon, the game does it for you, and you'll double switch back to an empty weapon, and it's bad news for everybody. You definitely don't want that on if you have muscle memory to automatically switch when you're low. I definitely recommend turning that off. Moving on, we're looking at auto sprint. Now I have that turned on, and that is for mostly one reason. That's because I have an heirloom with lifeline. While inspecting lifeline and Wraith's kunai, in my opinion, they're the two best characters to do so with. While you're sprinting, if you spam your inspect button, you'll twirl your heirloom, and I just do it for the cosmetic effects. Moving on, we're looking at incoming damage feedback. I have it on 2D and 3D both because as much information as I can get when it comes to what's going on in a battle, I think is going to be most beneficial. After that, we're looking at taking damage closes death box menu. I have that turned off, and that's, in my opinion, for a very good reason, which is if you need to go into a box in the heat of the moment, it's usually for an armor swap. If you're low or you have no armor and you need to get to that armor before you can bat, you go into a box and there might be a caustic trap nearby, and that's just going to close out your box and you're going to be exactly in the position you were in before, except even worse because now you're slowed, or they could immediately start shooting you right before you hit the button to swap armors. It's just worthwhile to have it on off. Muscle memory, press circle when you're done, back out of the box, and you're instantly back in the fight. It is way more beneficial, I think, to have it on off than on. Last one in this category, I have colorblind mode turned to tritanopia. That's not because I'm colorblind, that is just personal preference. It keeps almost everything the same color, nearly the same color, just a slightly different shade, except it inverts the red and the yellow, and I personally think that it's just a little bit easier to track a yellow reticle on a target than it is to track a red one. That's just my personal preference. Like I said, nearly everything else is the same. I do prefer it on yellow. Next up, controller settings. Button layout, we're looking at button puncher. This switches your melee with your crouch. This is tactical settings from Call of Duty. Pretty common. I almost never melee. When I do, I put my weapon away and use R2. And I think it is a lot easier to do crouch type maneuvers while you are aiming on button puncher than any other setting. Moving on, we're looking at look sensitivity. So I do have a custom controller. I showed it off on my Instagram, showed everything about the controller, what my paddles do, information about my L3 and R3. So my R3 is actually at the max height that the Brand Evil controller set it to. So I have very good aim control for the most part. So a higher sensitivity benefits me while ADSing. I can track enemies a lot faster. Now I changed per optics settings down to 5 from 6. It's only 1 down. It's not drastic or anything. It just makes it a little bit easier to get the distinction between when I want to move really fast and when I need to finer tune my aim. And lastly, for the controller category, response curve, I have it on classic. I have tried just the other subs on these and I wasn't a fan of any of them. That's just my personal opinion. I've never messed with any of the ALCs. That's just not for me. Look dead zone, I do have it on small. I wish I could have it on none, but I do have it on small because if it's on none, even though I have tension on this controller, for some reason in Apex I always have a stick drift, no matter the controller, no matter how new it is. It's always there. It's just this game. I don't think I'm the only one that's come across that issue, but I do have it on small so that there is almost none to no drift at all. Down here, before I forget, this is something I never think about. I do have my look on inverted. This is just, I was forced to play this way on a game I used to play way back on an OG Xbox. It forced me to play inverted only, and I just got used to it. So if you don't know what that means when I want to look up, I'm going to pull the stick down, and when I want to look down, I'm going to pull the stick up. That's not the way most people play at all, but if I play the other way, I just forget how to play the game and I'll go to shoot somebody and my aim is just going to be down here in the dirt. So I do play on inverted. Now to finish off settings, we're looking at sprint view shake. I do recommend turning that to minimal. And then field of view, I do have mine maxed out at 110. I know that default is 70. I do not recommend playing the game on this setting at all. You're only hurting yourself by doing this. I recommend turning it up. You don't have to jump all the way max, but to start out, put it right about 82, 86 right in here. Just play a couple games like that and see how that feels. And if it's feeling pretty good, you should go ahead and turn that up. Let's jump up a little bit. Let's go to 96. You should start noticing you're able to take in a lot more information. You might make better decisions on movement and position and stuff like that. Once you get the hang of that, definitely turn that up to 110. You will not regret it. Trust me. I had it as soon as I set it to 110. I have never went back. It just makes it so much easier to take in information. It makes the game feel more fast-paced, not so sluggish. It makes you feel like you have more control of your character. It has all benefits and no cons, in my opinion. For the next part of the video, we're going to go look at wall jumping. This is just if you happen to be able to utilize this mid-fight, or if you just want to have some fun. It's a really neat trick to know. So while you're sliding, if you jump on a wall, and as soon as you touch the wall, you press jump again, mid-slide, you'll jump off the wall. I'm doing this on controller. It's a lot easier on controller with a paddle because you're able to use your look while also pressing the jump button. Now, wall jumping isn't super useful mid-fight unless you're extremely used to the movement of doing so. You have the reaction to do it, and you're able to lock onto your enemy very soon after jumping off the wall. Or unless you're Galtish. So now we're going to talk about just a few movements that I use mid-game every game to give myself any kind of advantage that I can get. So to start things off, I'm going to show you how to get a slide boost off of any climb that you can mantle. You're going to go to the top, and you're just going to press the crouch button. You may need to learn the muscle memory of this. It does have some tricky timing. As soon as you go up, you press the crouch button. In my case, it is my R3 because I do have the button puncher layout. As soon as you go up, you press that and you get a speed boost. So hypothetically, let's say there's a Bangalore over here with speed boost running at me. I'm going to run up this wall here. I'm going to get a speed boost to the edge. I'm now in a position to turn around and fight her as she's climbing up. It gives me immediate advantage to potentially one clip or seriously turn the tides of the battle, especially if your teammate is nearby to help you. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to immediately go around a corner while losing almost no speed and look flashy while doing so, also potentially throwing yourself into a position to start batting around an obstacle. Okay, so we're going to pretend that the sentinel stand right here is a building corner. I'm going to sprint forward and turn my camera to the side and press the jump button. And what should happen if you time it right is you immediately go around the corner, reposition yourself in a way better spot, and lose virtually no speed while doing so. If I were to try and heal while doing it, it would look something like this.
Recharging shields.
So here we have the infamous bunny hop. On console, it doesn't seem to be as useful because it always prevents me from moving while I'm healing. It gives me maybe one jump and I immediately hit the ground and stop moving. So while sprinting, you're going to jump and crouch spam as soon as you touch the ground. You have to have it in near perfect synchronization. What you see most people do is just spam the stick and it looks something like this. It looks and sounds pretty ridiculous. This is mostly just for style while you're moving mid-game. But if you're able to time that jump and that crouch extremely well, you do have a bunny hop. Alright, so lastly I'm going to show you how imagination is the limit when it comes to positioning and how quickly or efficiently you want to get to where you want to be. So the example I have in the firing range is this little valve right here. You're able to climb up that. The structure is only found in Kings Canyon, but you're able to climb up this pipe right here, stand on that, and climb straight up to the top. Now while making virtually no noise and doing so instantaneously, you are just about at the top to immediately turn the tides on any fight or get near immediate repositioning if you're being chased or you need to avoid an ultimate or anything like that. Imagination truly is the limit. Just figuring out how to do all kinds of things like that all over the map are really just going to give you an edge over and over and over again. Alright, now please just remember that these are my tips and tricks. I came up with these on the spot. My settings, they don't have to be your settings if you didn't like them. These are just my ideas and how I utilize them. If you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching. Please like if you want, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for being here. See you next time.